Champions League. Look at these lovely headlines. Phew moon. And Neasy does it in the end, back from the brink, and City surviving a scare, and obviously a big nod to Savinho. City survive for now, the last of those. We've got Ian and Naden with us for this segment. Ian, has been a tricky campaign for City, but they've lived to fight another day.
Yeah, I mean, who'd have thought when it started they'd finish 22nd, just about getting into the 24. They're not far from elimination, and I think that was touch and go last night for a lot of the game against Bruges, who were very impressive on the counter. And City still look vulnerable to me to those counters. You could drive trucks through some of the gaps in the midfield just at the moment. But they've got it done, and their form is picking up. So they've survived, and I've got a feeling they're still going to be a factor in the competition. You might think that they'll get some kind of boost from the signings that they've made moving forward, but you can't say that was particularly convincing last night.
At half-time and at full-time.
But in the end, from when they got that third, I think the way they managed the game, the possession that they held for probably that last 10 minutes, and also, it must be said, the fact that Bruges probably knew that they were going to be staying in the tournament as well, he kind of changed the tone for the game. So come 90 minutes, I was comfortable. I was watching other games, enjoying myself, seeing so many goals going in here, there and everywhere. But I promise you, that first half was probably as stressed as I've been in a very long time.
I can imagine. Well, here's a reminder of what the bracket looks like. Obviously, Manchester City squeezing through in the end, finishing 22nd, which has created a heavyweight knockout playoff round in the next tie for them, because they must face 11th or 12th Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. So already early on in this stage of the tournament, we're seeing a tie of this magnitude, Shaka.
And who could imagine we'd be having those discussions when this tournament first started? And I think, while, yes, we rightly criticise City and their recent form and how unexpected it was, and not quite sure if they're out of it at all, you could almost say the same about, Bayern Munich in terms of their form, Real Madrid in terms of theirs, but then Real Madrid and the Champions League, all of a sudden, as we've seen season in, season out, become just such a totally different animal. And it becomes this kind of... So, Nathan brought it up earlier. When you're talking about these teams, we're normally trying to find their reasons. We know their strengths and who has a weakness that the other can exploit. Now, all of a sudden, for the first time in God alone knows how long, we're discussing, between these three, can they find their best selves? And if so, will it be enough? Can they give them what we've seen? But it's created for an incredible draw in ways that I don't think anybody anticipated. And it's as tough as any to call. Outside of Liverpool and Barcelona have had their own issues domestically, I'm not sure who's looked convincing or consistent, certainly in the Champions League. Yeah,
that was a good point that you made actually yesterday when you were saying that they've all had those moments, but two others have convinced you more. What does Pep Guardiola prioritise now? The Champions League or the Premier League?
Oh, the next game they play.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not in a position to pick and choose. You have no idea, and he has no idea, and the players have no idea what they're going to be doing when they get on the field. And that's why I said yesterday that both Bayern and Real Madrid, who at times have been kind of Jekyll and Hyde, at least they've been either Jekyll or Hyde. Manchester City have just struggled every time they've stepped on the field. So that's why I said what I said yesterday, that although it's a big game on paper, City are not the favourites at all.
The thing is, you look at that result, Manchester City win 3-1 at home and go through, and it feels kind of comfortable. But there was for long spells in the game, it just absolutely wasn't. And when you're looking back on it and you're trying to paint something positive for City outside of the result, the best you could say is, well, Ipswich result apart, City were better than last week, or they were better than 2 weeks ago. But that's a pretty low bar, kind of given where we expect City to be and where they've shown themselves to be over recent weeks. So at least they're trending in the right direction. Whether it's enough to get the better of a Bayern Munich or Real Madrid, time will tell. But as of right now, I'm I don't think so.
I wonder what Nedum's got to say, because Nedum, obviously, you face Real Madrid pretty much every single year as Man City, so you've had a good look at them. When it comes to Bayern, we've even sent you for ESPN to cover Bayern this season. What do you think of either of these two sides for Man City?
I think it says a lot about the competition, the fact that this is, a tie that most people probably didn't expect to see at this stage of the competition. Most people would have had these teams lined up in the top 8 based on, the way that the season started. But this is the reality of the situation. And for me personally, I would like to see Bayern Munich come and take on Man City, because I'd like to see Vincent Kompany almost come to the Etihad as a protagonist. Instead of coming there with Burnley and trying to find a way to stay in the game, you've got to try and find a way to win a game now, to win a game going against the Pep Guardiola side, who obviously has weaknesses at this moment in time. So I'd like to lean that way. But, the other side is Real Madrid. And, if you want to win this tournament, then you have to play against teams like that. Obviously, it's very early to be doing so, but they've shown imperfections as well. And also, stick with me here on this math, just to make sure that you're on board with this. So Bayern lost to Villa. Villa lost to Bruges. City beat Bruges. It means City are better than all of them. So that means they're winning the Champions League this year. Simple as that.
Pull it off now.
In fairness. Now, everybody's been begging for January to be over, but let's take a look at how February actually looks for Manchester City. Nedum, how stressed are you about this schedule?
Hey, listen, I'm not playing any of these games, so I'm not stressed at all. The issue is when I'm on TV shortly after them. That is the big problem, Kate, because I know people like you like to pile in on me when things aren't going well. But yeah, I think it's going to be a tough month for them. But in reality, we get a chance to see where they really are, because there've been some sort of feelings in the last weeks, like maybe they're getting better, maybe they're getting better. Well, the tests are here now. The game against Chelsea, they got through that one, although it wasn't the best of starts as we saw. I think this one in midweek, we could have seen a way where maybe they lost this. And now going to Arsenal, it's interesting because they're going there to play the spoiler, whereas usually it's the other way around, or say in the last decade, it's been the other way around as such. So the fixtures are very, very tough, but this is to be expected. You have to play against these teams if you want to be successful. And come the end of this month, we'll really know where they are and what we can expect from them from March onwards.
Yes, absolutely. We're just going to take a bigger picture look now, though, Ian, now that the league phase is over. This is the table that we're seeing as it stands right now. What have your thoughts overall on this new format?
Well, I was pretty cynical when it started, to be honest with you, Kay, but I've got to say it's been quite refreshing and different. It's thrown up some games between the bigger clubs earlier on in the competition. Sometimes it's been a bit lopsided against some teams with their fixtures against others, but I guess that's the way the cookie crumbles in this. And you've had this kind of drama, quite hard to follow, of everything changing around quite dramatically, with games going on everywhere on the last day. So I've got to say a qualified thumbs up to it, I think.
Oh, there we go. Just like Craig Burley, loved it in the end, even though he was sceptical at first.